Welcome to Joy News today. Joy News is your home of independent, fearless and credible journalism. Coming up this afternoon, leader of the Movement for Change, Alan Kyerematen, says he is on an agenda to deliver prosperity for all Ghanaians as he convenes a Nat'l Economic Summit which kicks off in Accra today. Also, filth begins to pile up at some universities as striking labor unions declare no retreat after meeting Finance Minister vowing to press on with their demand for immediate payment of all Tier 2 pension deductions. Plus, experts in sexual reproductive health calls for a national dialogue as Ghana is identified as one of the countries with the fastest rate of new HIV infections in the world, with 45,000 young people between 15 and 24 infected already. We're also live on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and X Spaces at Joy News on TV. My personal handle is @Denana Aisha. Please do stay for details. Filth is beginning to pile up in lecture halls just 2 days of the Tertiary Education Workers Union strike. At the University of Development Studies in Tamale, the students say the washrooms are also messy and not a good sight to watch. Striking labor unions have declared a no retreat after meeting with government to deliberate their pension contribution on pass. Unfortunately, it ended without a consensus. 3 labor unions, the University Senior Staff Association of Public Universities in Ghana, Tertiary Education Workers Union TEU, and the Ghana Association of University Administrators have all laid down their tools over claims of poor working conditions and non-payment of Tier 2 pension deductions. My colleague Kenneth JC was at a meeting between the unions and the Finance Ministry yesterday and has filed this report.
Despite meeting the Finance Ministry and the Education Ministry today, the Senior Staff Association of Ghana, the Federation of University Senior Staff Association of Ghana, and the Teachers and Educational Workers Union say their strike still holds. They say their meeting with the ministries ended with proposals given by government, and they say they will not return to work until their demands are met.
Today has been a very tough day, difficult and stressful day for us. Yes, we went to this meeting with a position, and we know our position. Government is owing us our Tier 2 pension, and we are requesting for the payment of the principal plus 3% penalty per month. And when they spoke with us, we've given them our proposal. They said they are going to consider and they'll get back to us. So we are waiting. When they get back, then we take a decision from there. That's what happens today.
So does that mean that you put your strike on hold?
No, our strike is still on.
Strike continues to bite hard. On the University of Ghana campus, heaps of garbage are seen around the entire campus with nobody to collect them. Students complain it is affecting them.
Due to the strike, the facilities are not well maintained. An example is the JQB block, where one of our lecture halls. So last week morning, the whole place was full of water because those who were to take care of the place were not available to maybe clean the water for us to be able to work, to go to class. So this makes people very late to class, and the rubbish outside is overflowing, and you can see rubbish everywhere, and it makes the school look very nasty. And under the tree where the benches are, people are sitting there, but there are rubbish around them, and it makes it very bad.
We also were supposed to have lectures this morning, but then because the place has been used as an examination room, we were unable to go for lectures there, and we had our classes held online this morning. And it is going to return back after they are done with the examinations.
Before their meeting with government, the striking union did indicate that if government does not come to a consensus with them, their strike continues unabated, and truly they stay to their words. From the Ministry of Education in Accra, Kenneth Jesse for Joy News.
Listen to students from the University of Development Studies who say they've had to pick up the rubbish in their classrooms themselves so they can sit in for lectures. They want government to address the concerns of the striking workers.
The strike is actually hitting some of us. I'm a national service personnel, and the tax I've been given, a lot has been added to me because they are on strike and we can abandon their work. So every day we transport ourselves to the office, we do office work, and we do our duty as well. So I would say, my personal feeling, the strike is actually affecting us. And so if the stakeholders or the government can step in, resolve this matter, and allow the workers or the staff to resume their duties, we will all be free, and the country will be smoothly for all of us.
This strike affects us in so many ways, and one of them is the lectures are coming all right, but there's no cleaning going on here. All the lecture rooms are filthy and dirty. So when we can't come and clean the classroom before we get seated because our schedule is almost, I think there's no space for that thing like that. So I think if it's cut short immediately and they come back to work, it will be better, because right now when we get to our classroom, there's dirt everywhere. And since they are not coming, it's going to increase till whenever they come back, and it's not going to help us.
So the strike has really affected us a lot. This morning when I was coming up the stairs, I saw that the whole place was dirty. And like my classroom right now is no need. Like the place is dirty. We had to do some picking and sweeping ourselves. Those were supposed to do that work aren't here right now, so the whole place is messed up. The washrooms are not good at all. You don't even know where when you want to use the washroom, you won't even know where to go to. And this is really affecting our studies because we need to study in a clean environment. A dirty environment won't enable us to study well, because you're thinking of how dirty the environment is and how you're going to learn in it.
In Kumasi, students of Kwame Nkrumah University and Apia Minka University have been left stranded on campus as they were denied access to some facilities on the first day of the Tertiary Education Workers Union of Ghana strike. My colleague Nana Boache Yadom monitored the situation and has filed this report.
The university's library, maintenance and lecture theatres are among the affected departments on various campuses. The industrial action has affected academic activities, leaving students perturbed. National President Suleiman Abdurrahman tells Joy News a task force has been put in place to ensure total compliance.
We are going to make sure that we have task force across all the university campuses. We have local leaders across all the public universities, so they will make sure that they put in place the task force to make sure that they monitor for everybody to comply with the strike action.
The strike is already biting hard as students are denied access to the university's library and lecture halls, which remain closed following the indefinite industrial action.
We got here and we've seen that the place is locked. I didn't hear of the strike though, but as I can see, we are now sitting here without being able to enter. So I think the government should try intervene and meet their standards or meet their needs for them.
We came to do group discussion, but as the library is locked, it affects us so much, and we beg and plead the government to call off this strike, because with the students it affects us the most.
Well, what are you doing after here?
So we are now going to find some place for it, because we have to submit it on Monday.
So you are coming to do your group assignment?
Yes.
So you are group. These are your group members?
Yes, they are my group members.
So where do you have to go now to study?
No, we don't know. We don't know, but our leader was saying we have some room here, but we don't know. So we don't know what to do right now.
President of the Tewu Ghana KNUST, Charles Arthur, is happy with the impact of the strike. According to him, the management of public universities will be forced to shut down the university.
We are saying that in the near few days, the environment will not be conducive for students to attend lectures. We do not close the university. It's the management of the university that closed the university when it has become ungovernable, when something has happened and they think that it should go. But we know that withdrawing our services, you understand, will reach there.
Xavier Sali Agbleke is the president of TEU Ghana Amstead.
We want them to come to heed to our concerns so that the whole balloon about the school student welfare should not be as if we are all parents, you know. We cannot let our children suffer whilst we are taking charges, taking control of everything in the campuses, then neglecting them on concern. You see, so we wish the government to come to our aid, to see to whatever demands we are making, to sit down with us, then restrictions out amicably.
For Joy News, Nana Boachi Dankoyadom, Kumase.
And on your election headquarters, leader of the Movement for Change, Alan Kyerematen, says he's on an agenda to deliver prosperity for all Ghanaians. The former Trade and Industry Minister, who is today convening a National Economic Summit, explains Ghanaians are worried about the economic downturn of the country, hence the urgent need to rally bipartisan expertise in formulating the solutions that will address the root cause of the country's debt crisis and other associated governance and factions, including corruption. In his address to the delegates at the National Economic Summit in Accra, Alan Kyerematen noted his Great Transformation Program, which contains a blueprint for Ghana's development, will serve as a framework around which solutions will be targeted. Let's cross over to the Mervyn Pick Ambassador Hotel in Accra and speak with my colleague Blessed Soga pitching camp for us. Blessed, what more can you report from this economic summit?
The summit has been convened as a result of a number of key considerations. First, the need to mobilize all talents in our country towards the development of our dear motherland, irrespective of our political, religious, or ethnic affiliation. Second, there's a compelling desire by a majority of Ghanaians to move Ghana beyond party manifestos towards the formulation of a national development plan, which all Ghanaians can sign up to. Thirdly, the majority of Ghanaians are deeply worried about our current economic circumstances and are looking for an opportunity to contribute ideas to finding solutions to our problems. It is against the foregoing background that over the last few months, I have assembled a team of some of the best and brightest in our country from different fields of specialization to formulate a plan that will move Ghana from poverty to prosperity. The outcome of these consultations has been the development of what I have christened as the Great Transformational Plan, GTP. The plan is anchored on 15 pillars under 5 clusters, namely economic, infrastructure, social services, governance, and behavioral and attitudinal change. The economic cluster of the GTP serves as the working document for our conversation today. The unique feature of this document, of this GTP, which will be reflected in the presentations, is that it focuses on solutions rather than debating the causes of our problems. There is absolutely no doubt that we have had the opportunity as a people to diagnose extensively the causes of our problems in the country. What Ghanaians are looking for now are solutions to these problems. It will therefore be apparent to you as participants that the content of our discussions will be solution-oriented. The presentations would focus primarily on very specific policy recommendations or prescriptions. In evaluating the viability of the prescriptions that we will present today, it is important for us to appreciate the integrated nature of the problems that confront us. And therefore, what you find contained in the 4 other clusters, aside from the economic clusters, have an impact on our economy. For example, some of the key governance challenges contribute directly to the economic crisis we find ourselves today. I'm sure if we are able to abate the level of corruption, we may not need to borrow as much as we've done. In the light of this, there will be another summit which will soon convene to discuss the governance cluster to enable us to have a more integrated solution to address our economic challenges. But be that as it may, I'm sure you all agree with me that it is appropriate that we start this summit first by focusing on the economic cluster. It is my fervent hope that we will have a constructive and enriching dialogue at this summit, which, as advertised, is a non-partisan gathering of Ghanaians.
Alan Kyerematen, leader for the Movement for Change, will be bringing you more from the summit in our subsequent bulletins. Meanwhile, flag bearer of the NDC, John Dramani Mahama, has commenced a 2-day tour of the Upper East region as part of the Building Ghana tour. It aims at offering a platform for the public to voice out concerns to feed into the 2024 manifesto of the party. The Upper East tour made its first stop at Bolga, where a meeting between the paramount chief and the flag bearer is underway. Nanaya Ojima is our man following the flag bearer. He joins us with more. Nanaya Ojima, I understand there's been talks about the Boko conflict. What more can you tell us?
Yes, so presently the flag bearer of the National Democratic Congress,
there seemed to be a connection problem. That's Nanaya Ojima following the former President John Mahama. He's currently in the Upper East region and having some conversations with the paramount chief. Nanaya Ojima is back. Nanaya Ojima, tell us more about this meeting. Nanaya Ojima will be joining us again and tell us more about this meeting with the Boko, the paramount chief of Boko, and we understand there's been talks about the Boko conflict and how we can have a lasting solution. Nanaya Ojima, if you can hear me, tell me more about this conversation between the former president and the paramount chief.
As I was saying, presently, the flag bearer of the NDC is in a meeting with the traditional authority here in the Upper East region. It's actually the regional House of Chiefs. Now, at the meeting, the first to speak at the meeting was the Kyerematen, who is the president of the House. And according to him, he expressed worry about the tension in Boko, and that was the focus of his address here today. He says the tension is long overdue, and there is need for the NDC flag bearer to carve measures to tackle the situation. He drew the attention of the NDC flag bearer to the general insecurity situation in the region, and he believes that there is urgent need for some strategies to be adopted for this challenge that is being experienced in the area. Now, on the part of the former president, John Dramani Mahama, he believes it's unfortunate that the dispute, which at a point was almost over, has heightened in the area, and according to him, he will do all that is necessary to ensure that this tension that is being experienced here it comes. He says, according to within his tenure, there was some peace in the area. The tension was almost over. Things were very calm, and he finds it surprising that there's heightened tension. So he says that the necessary strategies will be adopted to ensure that there's calmness in this area, and also the general situation of insecurity in the Upper East will also be given some attention when he has been office. He has been also been speaking about the policies he intends to implement to ensure that the needed development is realized in the Upper East region. He spoke about the aggressive potential of the area and the possibility of industrialization being used to transform the economy in the Upper East, to be specific. So the John Dramani Mahama is now taking questions from the traditional authority, the regional House of Chiefs here in the Upper East, and these will feed into the NDC manifesto for the next election.
Nana Ojima with that report from the Upper East region. Definitely there's more from this meeting we'll be sharing with you in our subsequent bulletins. Let's get on to health issues, because reproductive health expert Oko Ama is calling for a national dialogue, as Ghana has been identified as one of the leading countries in the world with the fastest rate of new HIV infections in the world. That's not all. Later statistics also reveal that over 45,000 young people between the ages of 15 and 24 are HIV positive, with females accounting for 80% of the infections. Health experts say this development poses a huge risk to Ghana's quest to have an HIV-free status. We'll hear from the experts shortly, but first listen to the Director General of the Ghana AIDS Commission, Dr. Steve Etuahene-Kyerematen, who says the Commission is concerned about the increasing rate of risky behavior in the country.
The number of young people between the ages of 15 and 24, as at the end of 2022, were 40,500.
Wow. 40,500 people infected with HIV.
Young people. Age 15 to 24. Live with HIV in the...
Over 40,000.
Yes.
This is what we can even account for, isn't it?
Yes.
Because the last time you updated us on the status, you said some people had come for the test, but they didn't come to get a result. And they were probably walking around not knowing their HIV status.
Yes.
So between 15 and 24, over 40,000 people are living with HIV.
Yeah, and every year, the number of people, the contribution of young people of the same age group to new infections is almost a third of the total new infections in the country.
That is the highest. A third, okay.
A third.
Right.
So if you have 15 to 24 contributing almost a third of new infections in the country, that is also very worrying, because our objective is to have a HIV-free generation. And if these young people do not have HIV, if they do not have HIV, then we have the opportunity to break the HIV transmission in the country, because within that age group, there will be, so when those ahead of them are no more, there will be no HIV in the country. And so we need to take the issues about young people very serious.
Right.
And I mentioned that young people contribute about a third of new infections. But when you break it down by sex, it is even quite worrying, because you see that 83% of new infections that occurred among these young people actually occurred among females. And so, which clearly tells you that, the young females are getting it not from their age mates, but from
other people.
Yes, older ages. And when you look at the DHS and multi-cluster indicated survey, you will see that the result shows that there is high level of intergenerational sex. That is, older men having sex
with younger people,
and adolescents.
And you think that is accounting for the 80% infection rate for females between the ages of 15 and 24?
Yeah, it's a major factor.
We can now listen to Kyerematen, an expert in sexual reproductive health matters and the chairperson on the Youth Advisory Board at the Youth Bridge Foundation.
We also need to be very intentional in putting out educative content online, 30-second reel on HIV prevention or who may be HIV positive or not. Like the very, very basic information, we need to put them out there on the platform where the young people are having access to information. Because our failure to do that, this is about over 40,000 people, young people between 15 to 24. Now, this is even more worrying because this age group are the ones that a lot of them are in school, some are coming out of school. They are our prime human capital as a labor market for Ghana. These are the people who would work in institutions. These are the people who have fresh skills, fresh energies to contribute to our development. And due to our own failure of realizing that issues at the home on how someone has information about sex, how they even initiate sex, and the social determinants that comes with it, once we fail, we are literally losing our population, a key aspect of our population, to the HIV virus. And of course, there is our ambitious goals to, how do I say it, and have an AIDS-free generation. But it's not going to happen if we fail to recognize some of these things and provide the key information that young people need. Now, just to add one more, you realize that, of course, in a typical traditional Ghanaian society, we also know that a sex between a man and a woman and all of that. But we also have to wake up to the fact that there may be other sexual minorities that we may also be ignoring for whatever reason. This also contributes also contributes to the increase in HIV infection. You realize that sometimes not everyone, if someone who may be in a sexual minority is infected, who are they going to talk to? Because they also may fear some sort of backlash that happens and all of that. So there are lots of factors that we need to consider, and we need to wake up. The hypocrisy and the mystery around sex and not giving out right information and not paying attention to the specific needs of young people, especially girls. It's very, very alarming.
Cecilia Seno, who is CEO of Hope for Future Generations and co-chair of the Global Fund Network, is also worried the situation will escalate if proper measures are not put in place to check it.
So the global effort of ending HIV, as Dr. Kyerematen rightly said, is a challenge if Ghana does not really address this. The important thing is that we cannot leave our young people, especially girls, who are mostly vulnerable, without really developing very important, very good interventions to respond to their needs when it comes to sexual and reproductive health. I think this issue is where we are getting these challenges from. If you look at the data that has been projected and that has been shared, everybody at every level, we need a multi-sectorial approach in this country to address HIV interventions. If you look at the young people, especially girls, Dr. Kyerematen talked about intergenerational sex. A lot of them look up to other people to take care of them. And a lot of men, adult men, are taking advantage of their vulnerability, and many of them are getting infected. I think parents should be responsible for bringing up their children. Another big thing that is happening is peer influence and maybe looking up to other people. A lot of them they're not being guided by any adults. They go to schools, they stay in boarding schools, and their needs are not met. Especially if you look at a girl who has to take care of her menstrual hygiene and make sure that every month she has adequate materials to protect herself from menstruation, who hasn't got even a penny to do that, would definitely fall victim to a lot of people. So if you look at our social control, our society, and the upbringing of our children, it is not enough to just talk about abstinence, but I think they should be given different interventions, different opportunities to be able to protect themselves and have access to things that will protect them from having HIV.
Countries the world over are observing the World Wetlands Day, a period aiming at raising global awareness regarding the crucial role of areas including the coast of Jamestown, which remains important to human beings and the planet. Alarmed at the level of plastic pollution at beachfronts and other wetlands, the eco-conscious citizens say it is time for action. National coordinator for the group, Aula Sewa, believes that single-used ought to be banned in the country.
Most people think we fishermen are responsible for the filth at the beaches. Truth is, we aren't responsible for the filth. The filth comes from the people at Agbogloshi and areas around the Kole. They usually dump their refuse into the lagoon, which then flows into the sea, especially when it rains. When that happens, we become clueless. We don't know how to curb the situation.
The filth really affects us fishermen. We have no one to speak for us on the matter. We really need help with the clearing of the waste at the seashore. Because of the filth, we are unable to have a good catch. We pull out our nets sometimes and welcome waste instead of fish.
Even when we decide to clean the beach, the filth keeps coming. We are pleading with the responsible bodies to help us control this waste problem. We would even appreciate it if they provide the logistics we need to clean this place.
What is happening to our beaches, our environment is just disappointing. We can have clean beaches today if we are interested. First of all, it starts in the home. There was a time when we had the town council coming to make sure that each house was clean. Second of all, we really need to educate people, and then we have to have enforcement. The authority should do their work. We're in Ladma right now, Ladade Kotopa Municipal Assembly. We've at the beach. You can have receptacles which collect plastic and let people know that put your plastic waste there, not on the beach. This is a beautiful beach. You have to keep it clean. And then you can have on-the-spot fines. Anybody who decides that the beach is a dustbin, fine them. We say there's unemployment. Create employment. Have people who patrol the environment, the beaches, the streets, what have you. People drop litter. You find them immediately. And then, as I keep on saying, we citizens have to be responsible. You finish eating, you finish drinking, for heaven's sake, keep it till you find a bin, put it in the bin. There's absolutely no excuse to litter.
Let's take a break on Joy News today. When we return, we'll bring you business.
Welcome. Let's do some business stories with me, Emma Davis. Director of the Institute of Statistical, Social and Economic Research of the University of Ghana, Professor Peter Korte, has expressed optimism in the further cut of policy rates in 2024. This comes after the Monetary Policy Committee of the Bank of Ghana cuts its key lending rates to 29% from 30%. Professor Peter Korte said he expects inflation to decline for a further cut in the policy rate. He was speaking to my colleague, James Eshen.
It's about consultancy, it's about new areas to engage. Even issues about the way we train our students, our curriculum development. All of this will come out very well if we engage each other. And I think that's what we are doing, and we're going to deepen that collaboration.
Now, Prof, let me come to the policy rate. We saw 100 basis point cuts with respect to the policy rate. We've seen Fitch also averaging 18% for the year 2024. Looking at various indicators, what's the best way for it? Is it feasible, what Fitch is predicting?
Well, it depends. I mean, we've seen the rate of inflation gradually come down. We have seen exchange rates relatively being stable. We've seen some positive growth rates and inflation expectations coming down gradually. So with all of that, you would expect that the policy rate will be revised downwards. My initial prediction was to have it between 100 to 200 basis points. You don't want to do a massive cut because there are some inherent pressures that may come. One, we've seen gradual increases in global oil prices on the global market. We are seeing, we don't know whether it might come down or might go up. We are also seeing some new taxes that may likely be introduced. That can also indirectly fuel inflation. So, and I believe the Bank of Ghana also looked at the liquidity situation in the economy. You want to balance this carefully, and therefore I wasn't expecting a massive cut in the policy rate, but then not reducing it at all too wasn't an option in my view, because the lending rate is still high for business. Cost of doing business is already high, so you want to do something to cushion them a little bit, and I believe this is the first step, and I believe gradually when things improve, we should see more such cuts to bring down the lending rates and thereafter the cost of doing business.
Talking about taxes, there's this call from the business community with respect to they're calling for a reduction in taxes, and we have in the IMF also call for more taxes. What is the best way? How do we sort of manage the two?
I personally don't encourage increases in taxes in this particular moment, because already the cost of doing business is high, cost of living is high, and in as much as we need to raise revenue, I don't think the only way to raise revenue is to increase taxes. If we make tax collection more efficient, I believe we can rake in more revenue. If you make taxes affordable and enforce the tax regulations, more people will pay tax, your total tax revenue will increase. So I want us to explore the other options. I know GRA is doing so, but we need to explore those options further. I've seen some numbers, and I hear they have been able to increase tax collection by so much, but I think we also look at it in terms of its real value. Inflation has been high, so if you have increased tax revenue by 30% and inflation is 26 or 20-something percent, so in net terms, how much have you increased revenue? I mean, those are some of the discussions that we ought to have. Yes, in as much as we see increase in tax revenue, we ought to be careful in celebrating that increase, because if we have increased taxes, and businesses are suffering, and households are also feeling the pinch, we shouldn't be celebrating. Rather, I think we should celebrate if we make tax collection more efficient and also very affordable.
Ghana Cocoa Board has allayed fears of a potential shortfall of supply of cocoa beans to artisanal processing companies. According to its Deputy Chief Executive, Ray Ankara, it is determined to increase the supply of cocoa beans to the artisanal processing companies to boost domestic production and consumption within this year. He spoke to Joy Business at the launch of the Ghana Chocolate Week celebration in Accra.
Board, in collaboration with the Ghana Tourism Authority and the other industry stakeholders, have launched the 2024 National Chocolate Week. This week-long celebration is on the theme, Eat Chocolate, Stay Healthy, Grow Ghana, and aims to shine a spotlight on Ghana's iconic cocoa, a key commodity and beloved treat. According to the Deputy Chief Executive of the Ghana Cocoa Board, Ray Ankara, the company is determined to increase the supply of beans to the artisanal processing companies this year.
We are saying to all Ghanaians that Cocoa Board is here to support the processing companies to produce more chocolate, more consumption, so that we can drive up jobs, and particularly even with the artisanal chocolatiers. A decision has been taken in order to lighten the burden they get in trying to get cocoa beans. We've decided that a policy decision has been taken to ensure that these chocolatiers can buy beans directly from Ghana Cocoa Board. This is a step in the right direction, and it's a huge one. This will ensure that they can get the beans, their costs will come down, and they can produce a lot more chocolate in the system and create more jobs for our youngsters.
Seth Ejeba is the board chairman of the Ghana Tourism Authority.
If you talk about the genesis of Ghana, cocoa is Ghana, Ghana is cocoa. And for us to be able to get the needed revenue to develop our country, there's a need for us to consume what we produce. That is why we are encouraging that about 40% of our cocoa beans is being processed, or we add value to it in Ghana. That will help us to get enough needed revenue.
The head of public relations at Cocoa Board, Fifi Boafo, reaffirmed their commitment to dealing with the impact of galamsey.
We admit that there have been some challenges. You talked about galamsey. Galamsey is taking away some cocoa farms. But what we are preventing is to make sure that we do not have chemicals polluting or contaminating the cocoa we have. So far, there's no evidence that the cocoa we are producing, its quality has reduced. It remains the best quality cocoa produced in the whole world, and we are something we jealously guard, and we shall continue to protect the quality beans we produce in the world.
The National Chocolate Week celebration will be marked with a series of activities from the 9th to the 14th of February 2024 at the Tetekwashi Interchange in Accra.
That'll be it for business. For more business news, do log on to myjoyonline.com. I am Emma Davis. Have a good afternoon.
Let's do sports now on Joy News today with me, Muftau Nabila Adla. The draw for the African Games 2023 has happened. Ghana is in Group A alongside the likes of the Gambia, Tanzania, and Ethiopia. So these were the groups that were done for the women, and Ghana, as I mentioned, is in a group with Tanzania, Uganda, and Ethiopia. For the Group B, Nigeria, Senegal, Cameroon, and Morocco. The powerhouses of African football have been grouped in Group B, whilst Ghana is in Group A. Let's take a look at that of men that was also done. Ghana, Gambia, Benin, and Congo. And then Group B, we have Nigeria, South Sudan, Senegal, Uganda, and Tunisia. Group B is 5 teams because 9 countries submitted to be part of the African Games 2023. So these are the fair draws for the African Games. So match day 1, we'll have Ghana come up against Gambia in the competition. Now let's hear from President of Ghana Olympic Committee, Ben Nunu Mensah. He's been speaking. The African Games serves as the qualifiers for Paris 2024 Olympics. He says Ghana wants to qualify at least 20 athletes for the event.
Well, Team Ghana was put together maybe about a month ago. The chef de mission got a full complement of his team about a month ago, and just this morning he told me some of them, some disciplines have been earmarked to go for camping in Cape Coast, so they're leaving for Cape Coast this morning. I believe boxing, badminton, they're all moving to Cape Coast to start their camping. That is okay, that is good. It would have been better if we had started preparing much earlier, especially being the host country. And then also if we had given some of our athletes the opportunity to go out there, camp within Africa, and maybe test their strength, or as you guys do in football, play friendly matches with some of the countries that we eventually be coming to compete with us. But I guess because of money, it hasn't been possible to do that. But what is important is that at least we're beginning something, we're starting camping, and I hope that once everybody goes into camp and then we become a bit more serious, maybe we'll have whatever we miss from not having adequate preparation would have been covered by the preparation that we're doing now.
The Minister of Youth and Sports, Mustafa Yusuf, visited the athletes in camp at the Cape Coast Sports Stadium. This happened on a Thursday, and also the facilities to host the games, they will be used on February 8th, as about 500 athletes will be representing Ghana in the game. The Legon Sports Stadium, as well as the facility which is being constructed in Boteman, will be used as Ghana gets ready to host the rest of the continent effective March 8 later this year. That's your sports for now. We do have more sports stories on myjoyonline.com.
It's time now for your showbiz. A Nigerian woman identified as Ewaluwa Olantunji has won the Guinness World Record for the longest singing marathon for Christmas songs. According to a report from GWR on Wednesday, she sang Christmas songs for 31 hours to set the record. That's how we wrap up showbiz this afternoon, and that's how we wrap up the bulletin this afternoon. My name is Aisha Ibrahim. Log on to myjoyonline.com. There's more of the news and updates of all the developing stories. Do enjoy the rest of our programs.